been walking around, ain't never been afraid, you know, getting locked up or anything else. Because you cannot prove something that didn't happen. They would have to legitimately go out and frame me. They'd have to do an OJ on me. And
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, that's what it seems like happened.
they tried, but you know, somebody, man,
So
somebody,
I,
somebody.
I want to stick. I want to stick with Leor. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to stick with Leor, and this is a segue into Little D and
Mhm.
Little D's father, Big D. Now, right after the murder, an anonymous source, a police officer, let us know that Big D and possibly Little D could have been involved. Uh, Big D did an interview with us, and he said he was at home working on his boiler that had blown out. he had
He a dusty motherfucker. No, but go ahead. Like, shit. Yo,
but he denied it, and he immediately said, listen, I would be talking to I would be looking at Randy Allen if I was looking at anybody. Um, that's what he said,
Mhm.
and you know I'm trying to understand. I've heard a number of things about Big D, including his involvement with law enforcement. I've heard that he.
Yeah, he been a confidential informant for a long time. Got strong relationships with the Queen's DA's office. This is a fact. Yeah.
Do you think that that relationship helped amplify not only the police looking at you, but also Leor Cohen and some of the other people who came out afterwards? I believe co-signed the the theory that you had been involved in possibly in it.
Well, I think Leo more than anything, like I think he was just glad that it wasn't somebody in the music business. But let's be clear: the night that Jay got killed, Funkmaster Flex was on the radio on Hot 97. He didn't name any names, but he was saying he was just tired of dudes. You know, he was alluding that people in the industry were responsible for Jay's death. And Flex took it hard, you know what I mean? And he was talking heavy that night. And the very next morning, Ed Lover was on, I think was it 105 and doing the morning show, and he was crying and he was saying the same thing. So the night Jay got killed, and the very next day, people in the industry thought somebody in the industry was responsible. And to be clear, they thought it was Supreme McGriff and Murder Inc. Now, why would Leo be concerned about that? It's evident. Murder Inc. was under Def Jam. Leo was running Def Jam, and Def Jam was under Universal. Vivendi, the French company that owned the majority stock in Universal, they were buying out Edgar Bronfman, who was Leo's direct boss, right? Bronfman took the money from Universal, and this negotiation was going on around the time Jay got killed. So Jay gets killed. There's all these, you know, unfounded rumors about Murder Inc. and Supreme, and you got Irv Gotti and Supreme McGriff connected to Fat Cat and the killing of Edward Byrne. This is some like real like movie shit. You know what I mean? And again, we talking about the music industry. We talking about a lot of gangster cosplay. So anything that remotely resembles some serious shit going on, they revel in this because it's almost like, yeah, we real. Look, we in the middle of all of this. You know what I mean? Look, man. I know rappers. I'm cool with them and all that. But I can't speak for this generation. But for my generation, street dudes didn't rap, man. You know what I mean? Like, yo, that's not what we did. We didn't entertain or amuse people. You understand what I'm saying? Yo, nah, that's not what we did. It may have changed since then. Who knows? It's a lot. Everything's a lot different. But with Leo, back to Leo, who knows, man? that happened on his watch because Supreme, Irv, Irv got a company called Murder Inc. Supreme, his signature on his two-way back then was the murderer in Murder Inc. Like all of this stuff is some really damning stuff when people start gossiping about real things. When it's just entertainment, it's just like, this is for marketing. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
but when something really happened, it's like, is it really for marketing or is this what's really going on? The lines have been blurred between reality, fiction, and fact. You understand? And that's kind of like the dangerous tightrope that hip hop started walking. So anyway, I'm sure Leo was glad to hear anybody's name that wasn't connected to him because, of course, we all know when Edgar Bronfman took his money from Universal, he went and got Warner Music, and Leo was like his right hand man. You understand? Could these rumors or whatever affect the sale or the selling price? I don't know, but they probably could have affected Leo's chances of making that transition with him.
Right.
So I'm theorizing that it was in Leo's best interest to find out who did it or find a believable suspect. And that brings us back to Dusty Big D. You know what I mean? After Big D got exposed as being an informant because he took the stand and testified and did whatever he did, um, Jay got Leo a job at Rush Management. Back then, you had Rush Management, Rush Associated Labels, Def Jam. Russell was enterprising. Leo Leo wasn't on equal footing with Russell back then. He was really like working for Russell. Eventually, Russell kind of became a figurehead in his own company, but that's another story. But Jay got a job for Big D over at Rush Management, and he knew what Big D did, and it didn't matter. That was his friend. That was his childhood friend. You understand what I'm saying? And again, that's why I don't like to compare the music business to the streets. For this dude to rap, take the stand, send another dude from the same block to prison for 25 to life, and then Jay get him a job, like that's not gangster. I'm not even mad at him because he was a DJ. You know what I mean? Like Jay wasn't really in the street industry. And when people start talking about him being a drug dealer, I don't know nothing about that. But
Right.
Jay, I know, didn't sell drugs. You know what I mean? And if he did, he wasn't really good at it because at the time of his death, I believe he was in $400,000 in debt to the IRS,
Yeah.
behind on payments to his house. He was just drowning in debt. He wasn't making no money. So if he was selling drugs, where was the money? You understand what I'm
Well,
saying?
they say that he was dibbling and dabbling, because of the financial pressure that he was under. But, according to the indictment, they believe that Jay was running drugs down to Baltimore, and dealing and flipping the drugs down there.
I don't know anything about that.
Right.
What I do know is that, you know, um, he he wasn't in the best financial shape. Again, I believe Big D, who worked for Leo, I believe Big D gave Leo my name. Now, who gave Big D my name? That's the question.
Right.
You see, and the recent revelations, it opened my eyes to certain things because I couldn't understand like why this dude D was pushing my name so hard. I'm thinking maybe it was, he was really trying to get justice for his boy or something. I mean, But then when his son get arrested, I'm like, could that have been why he was pushing my name? Joe, you see
Well,
what
that goes back to my
I'm saying?
original question as well. That an anonymous officer claims that they were both spotted around the studio the time of the murder, and that was
Goldie?
that's what we were told, both of them. Now again, that's why I asked Big D, hey, listen, uh, you know, were you there point blank, and he obviously denied it. And the son. Now I want to focus on Little D. because he was only 17 at the time this supposedly occurred. Now, one of the gunmen was allegedly 6 foot and 175 pounds,
80 pounds with a
185 pounds with a,
yeah.
you know,
And I'm 6'4", 250 with
6'4", 250, no clothes. Tenard is, I think, 5'7" or 5'8".
He might be a little bit taller than that, but he's slim. Yeah.
Slim guy.
Yeah.
My question about the second gunman, and even possibly a third accomplice that maybe hasn't been talked about, if this theory the feds are bringing forward is correct, what could a 17-year-old, I know these are subjective questions for you, but did you know Little D, growing up at the age at 17?
I really didn't. I knew who his mother was. His mother's this girl, lady named Jackie. My only, I have a memory of Lil D, of when he must have been about, I don't know, maybe 5 years old, 5 or 6. We were all in California for a Run DMC show in Palo. It was an amphitheater in Palo Alto. I forgot what the thing was, and we had went out there, and they were there. I didn't travel with them. I flew from Atlanta. They all went from New York. Again, I didn't really socialize with them. The only reason I was there was because I had given Run some money, like because he had lost access to his funds. He was going through some kind of mental breakdown or something. Gave away all his money to Robert Tilton, the prosperity preacher or whatever. But anyway, I had sent Run some money, so then I flew out there to get with him. And before running them went on stage, they were praying in the back, and they turned down the lights and everything. And I'll never forget Lil D, man. He said, "Turn on these damn lights," and he was like 5 or 6 years old and turned the lights on. You know what I mean? I was like, whoa, like I laughed when he did it, but I started thinking like, yo, what's really going on with that kid? Because I wouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? At
Right.
5 or 6 years. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, Ron was in the middle of his prayer. He said, turn on these damn lights or something to that effect. But he yelled, turn on these lights. And he turned them on, man. And I was like, whoa, man, this dude got behavioral issues. You know what I mean? But that's all I know about the kid, for real, man.
Well, it's interesting because
Make him a killer.
Of course. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I understand. I was reading through some court documents, and they referenced the fact that aside from this indictment, I don't think he had any charges, as an adult.
Lil D?
Yeah, Little D. He had one charge as
Bo, did he get?
he had one charge when he was 17 for a shooting, and that's what I was gonna talk about was Bo was shot. I think it was
something.
Yeah, in the stomach, I think, and it was from what I heard, Little D, who did it.
Lil D got charged. He got arrested for it at first, but I don't know whatever happened with the case.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that shooting, why it could have been anything, but, a murder suspect 10 years or 15 years later, I mean, do you think this was enough to scare some of the people in the studio into their behavior of, quite frankly, obstructing justice for 18 years?
You want me to tell you the God's honest truth, man, how I feel? For me, I don't like any of these people, but I swear to you, man, I just can't. It doesn't even make sense for them to plan to kill Jay. In my mind, man, this had to have been something spontaneous, an accident. I don't look, man. Those people, they not like that, bro.
Well, let's talk about some of the people in the studio, and then we'll move on to the next portion of the interview.
We
yeah.
Okay. I want to get off.
Okay. No doubt. I just, with Bo, you guys had a back and forth on Twitter, which resulted in him name checking you in one of his freestyles I was listening to on Facebook.
He's a rapper, man.
He's a rapper, and I liked what I heard. All the all the aesthetics were there, you know.
He's been doing it for 20 some years. He should be pretty good at it, you know. But yeah, here's the thing, right, with Bo. I I remember Bo when Bo didn't even used to be outside with his t-shirt on and his hands up inside the t-shirt in the wintertime. You know, I don't I don't know. These guys get in persona